My first birth was an induction, which I didn't love. My second came naturally, in fact, so naturally that I didn't get an epidural. But my third birth was the best yet. Hi, I'm Krista, mom of 3. I've been saying mom of 2, soon to be 3 for so long that it feels good to say mom of 3. I love being mom of 3. And today I want to share with you Sophia, my third child's birth story, why I love being a mom of 3, and show off her nursery space a bit. So let's get to it. So the day before her due date, I made it that long. I actually had gotten sick the week before and almost went in, but didn't end up going in. But the day before her due date, I had my last appointment with my doctor, who's awesome. And we talked about induction. So that had kind of been the plan before that day, is if she wasn't there, I was going to induce the day after her due date. So we talked about that, and I told you that my first was an induction and I didn't love that. So I kind of talked through my concerns with the doctor, and she helped me feel really good about it. So I was pumped. So that was a Monday, and we were going to go in Wednesday morning at 1 a.m. So basically the next night we were going to go in to be induced. I woke up Tuesday morning, and I honestly just woke up and I probably was in labor because I was just like, I don't want to do anything today. I was basically just like, I am just going to be counting down the minutes till 1 a.m., which is when we were supposed to go in. My mom took the kids on a walk. I went and took a shower. I was just gonna lay in my bed. And I did. I laid in my bed, but I checked my phone after the shower, and the hospital had called, and they were like, hey, you want to come in early? And so called in Spencer, and we had a little nervous moment, but then we were like, yeah, let's just go in. We were gonna go to Chipotle for dinner and go in. So we were like, let's just go to Chipotle for lunch and then go in. So that's what we did. We went to Chipotle and then we went in. Spencer parked in the parking building a little bit over from the hospital. So I had a little bit of a walk to go in. But I was kind of like, that's good. Maybe it'll get labor going. I had not felt any contractions up to that point. So this was my due date, no contractions. But I felt like she was big. At the appointment the day before, I asked my doctor, I was like, how big do you think she is? She was like, honestly, you would know better than us. And in my head, I was like, okay, my first was 8 pounds. Second was 9 pounds. She feels like she could be 10 pounds. But I was kind of like, I never said that to anyone, but I was like, she's a big girl. But then I was like, you know what? She could just be 8 or 9 pounds because that's still really big. She was 10 pounds, spoiler. We walk up to the hospital, we get checked in, and my nurses just get us going. And honestly, I hate labor. I haven't had good experiences, but this one was so great. So now I'm like, okay, maybe I can do pregnancy and labor. My pregnancies aren't that hard. This labor wasn't that bad. Honestly, when I was sick and almost went into the hospital was the worst I felt throughout probably my whole pregnancy and labor. I actually thought I was in labor then. I was my body, I was shaking. I had a headache. I had all the things nausea. My feet and hands were swollen. I was like, the baby is coming. This was when I was sick and I didn't have any contractions yet. And then I didn't have any contractions and they told me not to come in. Anyways, so that was the worst I felt. Basically after that, I was nervous. I hate getting the IV. In fact, the hospital that I delivered at was a student hospital. So right when I got checked in, it was my nurse and a student, and the student was looking for my vein, and they could she was like, are you nervous for the IV? Or she's like, are you nervous? And I was like, I hate IVs. She could see my heart on the monitor going off. She knew I was really nervous, and the student was about to put the IV in, and I guess she broke my vein. Ew, I hate that. Can't even think about that. But I'm so glad she did, because the spot where she was gonna put it, I knew I was gonna hate it the whole time. So I could tell my nurse got bugged, and she was like, yeah, you broke it, fix it, I'm gonna find it. And then she found me a better spot, and she my IV didn't even bug me at all, which honestly my last 2 I hated. The IV grossed me out the whole time. It was in the worst spot. So we got there, got checked in. IV was in a great spot, off to a great start. And the first nurse I had was like, this is your third. When they checked my cervix and stuff, I was already a 3, dilated to 3, which is pretty progressed in my opinion. And when they started hooking the monitor up to me, I was already having contractions 1 to 2 every 10 minutes. I just wasn't feeling them. So that just must be me. I don't feel my contractions because they were happening. So maybe it was the walkover that like started those contractions and got me to a 3. But no, I did feel Tuesday morning like, I feel gross. So I knew like she was coming soon and she was gonna come that night or that day anyways. So my nurse told me she's coming. She'll be here, she thought by 10 p.m. And she was like, you've had 3. Sounds like you go fast. Like she's coming soon. So I was like, okay, we were kind of excited. The other suggestion she gave me, because I was like, I want an epidural. Like that's like all I wanted because I had already done the no pain thing. She's like, okay, well then one thing we do is we started with Pitocin because I was so like far along already. And then she said, we will probably break your water at some point, but we should probably get you the epidural before we break your water because after that things can go fast. So I was like, yes. But I was still kind of nervous just about labor in general and feeling that pain again because I remember it from my last one. About an hour or 2 later, the Pitocin had gone in and like I started to feel my contractions. So I was like, kind of got a little bit freaked out and I was like, Spencer, I think I want my epidural now. They weren't even really hurting me that bad. Maybe I just have high pain tolerance, I don't know. And he was like, and I was like, I think I'm gonna ask for an epidural. He's like, do it. Basically, I was like, I felt it all last time. I'm okay to feel nothing this time. So as soon as I kind of started feeling contractions and they were just like slightly painful, like maybe a 2 or 3 on the pain scale, I wanted my epidural. So I asked for it. I think there was like a birth going on because I didn't get it for a while, which is good. That's why I'm glad I like asked for it early because I ended up not getting it for like almost an hour or so later. And it wasn't even that bad. Like I wasn't even feeling the contractions as much. I just think I started feeling them and got nervous and was like, let me just get that epidural. I don't want to feel anything again. My nurse changes and the new nurse comes in and she's like, let's get your epidural. And after that, we're going to break your water, I think, as long as everything's good. So they got me the epidural, everything was fine. And after that, didn't really feel anything. They came in and checked me and I think I was still like a 3. He was like, maybe a 4, but he was like, let's just break your water. So they did. And yeah, and after that was just kind of like switching sides for a little bit. I felt it really good on one side. So then like half hour later, they switched me to the other side and I was feeling my epidural really good on both sides to the point where I like really wasn't feeling my contractions at all. And I was in heaven. I was like, this is fine with me. I'm cozy, I'm comfy. I think started sleep. I took a few naps after that, like between changing sides. And then I got one more new nurse and she checked me and I was still like a 4. And so, but when she checked me, more water kind of like came out. And that's when I think like my water actually broke, which is what really gets things going for me. After that, the same thing. I was kind of sleeping a little bit cozy, watching a show, turning from side to side. She came in and turned me to a side. And as soon as she turned me to the side, she left. I like felt, they say it's like kind of like you have to poop. And it wasn't even that. I just felt like she's like right there. I could like feel it. That she was like low and the contractions were starting to like hurt. Like they weren't hurting as much as they had when I was feeling them full on, but they were kind of hurting. I was like feeling them and I was like, so I called her right back in. I was like, I like feel her, like maybe like I have to poop. She's like, yeah, you're fine. I'm not gonna check you. If it keeps feeling like that, like call me back in. And it did keep feeling like that for probably like half hour longer. And I just kind of like bared it, I guess. Not that it was hurting that bad, but I was like, well, I'll just like, I kept feeling her like down there and I kept feeling it. So finally, like probably 45 minutes later, this is about 11:45 p.m. The nurse comes in. She's like, let's check you. I'm a 10. I'm 100% a phase. She's like, okay, we're doing this. She like walked me through a push. And the other thing that I really liked about this hospital and this birth experience is that I was like, I also am just like a little nervous. I tore with my first 2. I really didn't want that to happen again. And so, I don't know, she kind of taught me like how to push and I was just trying to be really mindful of like, don't push too hard. I really didn't want to tear. And so I did like a practice push before anyone was in the room. She's like, yeah, okay, you're good. And so she grabbed everyone and like Spencer was still sleeping. I was like, I'll wake him up. And like, she literally came in and kind of was like, hey buddy, like your baby's almost here. He kind of woke up super groggy. 10 till all the doctors are coming in. They were getting everything ready. It was about 5 till midnight. And I jokingly asked my nurse, I was like, hey, is she gonna come today or tomorrow? She's like, oh, she's like, let's just get started. She's like, if we go fast, she'll come today. I was like, wait, what? I hadn't even pushed at all yet. And there was 5 minutes till midnight. We like, everyone kind of sat and we waited for probably like a minute till one of my contractions came. And then they just coached me through pushing it. And so I pushed for like a count of 10 I would say 3 times. I did that 3 times, kind of all in the same contraction. And then I heard like my doctor be like, she's the shoulder, she's stuck. Another doctor had to like reach in and I think kind of like help pull. She kind of got stuck, I guess, her shoulder. She's huge. They pulled her through there and I pushed one more time and she came out. So it was like 1 push, although it was technically like 4 pushes on the count of 10. And yeah, she was born at 11:59. So she came right before midnight. I didn't tear. And as she was coming out, somebody was like, oh my gosh, she came out a toddler. And another doctor, like one of the pediatricians was like, okay, I had a 10-pound baby and she looks like it. Cause you know, I got to hold her for like an hour before they like actually weighed her. And yeah, she was a little bit sad during that hour. I mean, I nursed her a little bit. I just think it was probably a lot harder for her than me because I had epidural. She felt everything. Yeah, we got to hold her during that time. I got to hold her. I nursed her a little bit. And then they took her and weighed her and she was 10 pounds, 1 ounce. So I was right. She was a 10-pound baby. She had hair. She's chunky, healthy. All is good. That was my birth story and it was amazing. Something that I love about this birth is that I now feel like I can do birth. I feel like I can handle it. I was super nervous for an induction. We honestly both were. Me and Spencer kind of both get nervous about birth in general and nervous for the induction. But yeah, having gone through like doing it naturally and an induction where it like kind of wasn't going super well and having this induction just go super well, I feel like we like know how to like give birth now. So that was awesome. My kids came the next day and met her and that was a little chaotic. I will say this, recovery when I didn't have an epidural was, I think, faster. Like I was just like pumped. May have something to do with the fact that Raphael was born at 9. My second was born at 9 and she was born at, you know, basically midnight. And so I was just like exhausted like the next day. So when my kids came, I was a little bit like, not overwhelmed, but I was just like, you know, toddlers in a hospital room are not. Rafa was like trying to push all the buttons. They were just like climbing on me, jumping on me. I'm just like, this is a lot for me to handle right now. I just gave birth. They loved her and it was fun, but I was getting a little overwhelmed having them in there with me. So they left and I was starting to get a little like overwhelmed about like, how am I going to handle this at home even? I think once I got good sleep, I was like, I'm fine. So since I've been home, it has just been so awesome. Being a mom of 3 feels like my moment to shine. I feel so much like so empowered by it and I just feel like myself, like my best self. It's really kind of crazy to think that having kids is making me feel like my best self, like truly like myself, but it's made me feel that way. And when I got pregnant this year and like knew we were gonna have 3 under 3, at first I was like a little bit scared, a little bit nervous, but now I just feel super excited by it. I feel like I can do it. I feel like it's gonna make me shine as a mom, as a caregiver, as a home manager, as a business owner, like all the things. I just feel like I'm about to like thrive in them all. I'm saying that now while like my husband's off work and my mom's here helping, but no, I think I'm gonna be able to handle it super well. I'm super excited about it. I love having 3 kids. Obviously they're just like fun, but it's just fun for me too personally. The other thing that I just like love about having 3 kids and just like this phase of life is, you know, we've been in our house for like a year. We're renting, but we've been in this house for about a year. Since we have had her and just like before getting ready for her, I feel like we've just like filled the space like how it's meant to be filled, like her little nursery area. Poor girl, she's my 3rd. I would love to decorate a little bit more, but like, but just like it fits in like our room. Our room has always felt like big to me. Like we need more things in here. And this is what needed to be in here was her crib. Sophia just needed to be in here. And so yeah, like this room is filled. We got a new couch and like, now I just feel like everything out there is like making sense. I just feel like I'm so grateful for a home that we can grow into and literally grow into with another child, and that we are filling this space like how it feels like it's supposed to be filled. So that's been really fun. I kind of like put this on my Instagram a few weeks before I had Sophia, I was just like, as a business owner, like what do we do? Do we take time off? Do we work? Like how do we do it? Because I like love, you know, bullet journaling. I love everything that I do. And yeah, I kind of forced myself to pause, especially at the end of my pregnancy. That's when I feel like doing the least. I'm already starting to like get back into wanting to do things. Just taking some time to really like pause and like reflect, I feel like has realigned like what I'm even doing in my business. So I'm feeling really excited about what's coming for bullet journaling and for you guys and for me for the end of the year and for next year. So stay tuned because I have some like cool things coming out for anyone who wants to start bullet journaling now or starting next year. And I'm just excited. I feel re-energized and I feel excited to just be my best self right now. And I love my kids, and hopefully if you're about to have a third kid, or if you're gonna have 3 under 3, or if you just like wanted to hear someone's birth story, that you got something great out of this. And stay tuned for more bullet journaling goodness and more, I don't know, whatever I feel like sharing on here. So that's what we're gonna do now. See you next time, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.